Hello, 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 and welcome to another Tuesday here at the Progress Report. I'm your host, Dion Sage. I'm joined once again by my main man, my good friend, and, you know, brother, sister, whichever you want to call it, person
All of
right
the above.
beside
Why
me,
not?
uh, Taylor Neptune. How you doing,
Hey,
Taylor?
guys.
First, let's before I go into my monologue, let me ask you a question. How was your harvest day?
It was pretty good. It was very different this year. I didn't really do much, which is a big change in itself for me because I'm used to going to see my family in New York and New Jersey. Um, but I stayed home. I made a little feast of my own, quarantined, um, and got a COVID test the day after.
Yeah. So you're waiting for your COVID test to come in?
Yep. I have been, just trying to stick it out and stay home and not,
I hear that.
go crazy.
I hear that. I mean, I just went through the same thing, and it was tough, but thank God I'm faring through it.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there. I want to wish everyone luck in these and during these times. Here in Rhode Island, we're pretty much closed down. Um, Again, I can't bowl right now, so
Again, I know. I
yeah,
mentioned it today.
I
I was
can't
talking
bowl.
about you today on the tee.
You know what? And the crazy thing, I want to apologize because the tea went on today, but I was in the middle of a conversation with someone. It was very important, so I couldn't. I didn't
Oh, so
want
you
to
know
like.
what? So I could have talked more crap then.
Oh, you could have talked a whole bunch of junk. I mean, you saw me earlier today on Facebook. I said,
Uh,
"Oh, amazing," but no, you are
exactly.
amazing.
I was like,
Everything you're doing,
wow.
I love everything you're doing, and it's so wonderful. And can I just say, welcome of having your own show, the Tea with Taylor, move to the Progress Channel. How do you feel about that?
Why, thank you. Thank you. No, it's been great. It's been great. It's really been great. I've been working with you guys on the progress report. So it is the same producers and things of that nature. So I've been really excited to have all the help. Never expected to be where we are with this project in the first place. So anything from this point is growth, and I'm really going with it.
It's so crazy because I said, 2020, even though a lot of things have happened with COVID, having to shut down during the lockdown, massive protest, Donald Trump claiming electric fraud. I've been blessed. Speaking of election
Yeah,
fraud,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a loaded gun,
attention,
sir.
Donald Trump supporters. It's over. The Attorney General William Barr, who was appointed by Donald Trump to be the Attorney General, who has defended Donald Trump even during the Ukraine scandal and has
Even
submitted redacted information in the Mueller report, has officially made the statement that there has not been any evidence of widespread voter fraud.
any. And when I even heard that on the recount of certain states that he ordered, that they came up with the result that there were even more votes than they had originally thought for Biden.
I mean, it is over, Donald. How many times do I got to come in? I've been coming on here week after week after week after week, trying to appeal to you and let you know it is over. It's done. It's
It's
finished. Like you
over.
do not have it. It's like what Gladys Knight sang, and neither one of us wants us to be the first to say goodbye. But in this case, between you and I think I speak for over 75 million Americans, we want to divorce Donald Trump. We're
You're
good.
fired.
We're done. Like finish with you. We want you out. And it's okay. We understand. We understand you're trying to prove something because you can't be a loser. You can't be a loser. But let's talk about all the times you've lost, okay? Let's talk about all the times you've lost. Trump University. Where are the depths of that labor? I don't know.
Ooh,
Trump State. Have
ooh.
you had a Trump
Trump
State lately?
stinks.
Uh, has anyone been able to fly on Trump Airlines? Uh, no. So, in the words of the great Jim Carrey, loser are you?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And
Taylor, you know what I'm interested in? I'm interested in now and what's going to happen to Attorney General William Barr. Because Donald Trump is still president until the inauguration on January 20th. He's still president. He can fire William Barr, and then next thing you know, put an attorney general that an acting attorney, having an acting attorney general for the last few days that tries to say, hey, there was election fraud. Um,
you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that would be a move that he would make at this point because it's grasping at straws. Um, but I do not worry as much about it now because, again, like we said, it's over. It's in the bag. We got this. Kaput. It's counted. Um, if he does, in fact, make that play, I do believe that Biden would overrule that come January without too much of an effort. Also, I just don't think it's in the cards for him. Excuse me.
it's listen. For me, it seems like his top aides. You're talking about the person in charge of his Justice Department, the person who the top attorney in the country says there's no case of
Yes.
widespread fraud. And they're trying. They're trying to push. I don't know if you've seen last Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. I went live with Coffee with D about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In the middle of it, Donald Trump uh, called in to a town hall meeting that Giuliani was a part of, where they were trying to put out
Yes.
evidence on voter fraud, and it was just, I
Oh, yes. And I heard that Giuliani, excuse me, Giuliani actually, his job may have been, I don't know, up for, up, might have been thrown up in the air as a kind of punishment for trying to have a recount. Something I saw on Washington Post about
I
Giuliani's
gotta
job.
investigate that. And listen,
Yeah,
remind me of
Giuliani's
that, and
job
I'll talk
maybe.
about that tomorrow. Remind me of that because I'll
Yeah.
investigate that for you, and we can talk about that tomorrow on Coffee with D. I mean, but
Oh yeah,
uh, uh,
I'll be listening.
I I just at this point, like it's like Mr. President, President Donald Jackass Trump, are you trying to stay out of prison at this point? Seriously. I mean,
And his cabinet and the people around him have been dropping like flies since
dropping like
he started.
dropping. To be honest with you, I think that's the smart thing to do right now. Distance yourself from a Donald Trump because in New York right now, the district attorney has has been investigating Donald Trump's only paying $750 in taxes. Have been looking
Oh
into
yes, oh yes.
so
His
so
his fee,
so
the fee.
oh, the fee, the
Yeah,
fee.
it was
That's
a
it.
fee because he paid all his taxes up front. Anywho, so we need to get to some other fun nitty bits about the stories
We do got to get into some
here.
funny,
But
funny bits. But I just want to say this. I just want to say this. Remember when 112 had that song back in the day called "It's Over Now"?
oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah, Donald Trump. I dedicate that song to you on the top R&B playlist.
Oh wow. That's gonna be another thing he'll say when he gets back to you.
What do I think he'll say?
When he gets back to you, that's gonna be another thing he'll say. And I listened to that song you told me, and I hated
First
it.
off, Dion Sage. I don't know where you thought you were talking about. That was the most worst song I've ever heard in my entire life. It was not written by the Good Prod Boys. It was not written by the All Right. It was written by poor black guys. Poor
For black
black guys.
guys.
Anywho, there's some other news that's up.
What?
Ah,
What you want to talk
so
about? What you want to talk about?
my bad. It's my fault. Usually I'm the one that has the piece. Um, so a kid wrote to Santa Claus, by the way.
Oh yes,
And
I
this
heard of
is
this.
so each year United States Postal Service conducts Operation Santa, sending responses to letters to Santa. Some of the letters get posted to the USPS website. The program opens on December 4th. But to build interest in the program, the United States Postal Service posted letters from previous years. One of them is from Will, who says he's gay and asks Santa if he can ask God if he loves me for being gay. The letter reads, Dear Santa, do you support the LGBT community? And if you can speak to God, can you tell him I love him and if he loves me for being gay? Thank you. Love, Will. Um,
This
you know,
story's
this
so
really
friggin' cute.
isn't it, it really touched my heart, that this kid decided to write to Santa. He could have asked for any type of toy or anything like that, but he just wanted to know if God loves him. And you
And
you know where I
the
stand on
funny thing is,
this.
I don't believe they mentioned an age. I didn't see an age when I looked at the article. But yeah,
No,
that's one of the main criticisms I have with the LGBT community and merging with religion and church. Is that
but I
there's
don't think
such
it's
a
the LGBTQ's fault. I don't
no,
think it's
it's
the
not their
LGBT community's
fault.
fault. I think that I believe that because of how and I talk about it all the time. We had Pastor Jody on here from Powerhouse Church. We had
Oh
him on here.
yes,
We talked about it a little bit. And my personal belief is just that I just think that for so long churches have said you cannot be gay and worship God. You cannot be gay. God doesn't
right,
love that. God doesn't love that.
right.
And and
Instead of
and
teaching
and
love, which is the concept
exactly,
and the
instead of
principle
actually
of
teaching love.
God.
And that's why I'm glad, that we read this, because it connects back to when we talked about the Pope's response about same-sex civil unions,
Oh
and
yes,
then Bishop Tobin's response to the Pope, and saying that he needs to clarify and that he's mistaken and all this stuff. And we
absolutely.
heard that all through it. But you know, this is a little child, and it gets me to think also, Taylor. It gets me to think about the many young people who have taken their lives because they don't believe that they're loved by God, or they don't believe that they're loved by society. And in our
Or that they
society,
can be loved. Yeah.
that they can be loved by God. So that's why I'm happy that we have there are a lot of, and we're going to be getting into that in future episodes. But there are churches, there are spiritually based places that are saying, no, God loves you for
Regardless.
being a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning. So I think that's very important. That's
Yeah,
very important.
that really was a very touching story to read. And
Yep.
again, that's just one of my main things is we need to teach love more than anything.
So I think this is also going to be huge for the for kids that are LGBTQ. Elliot Page, star of Juno, shares
Yes.
transgender identity, and let's give it to him. Let's give it to him for that.
Uh,
And seriously,
yes.
I'm so support. I listen. I
Yes. So on Tuesday, I heard of this on Twitter. Elliot Page, formerly known as Ellen, from Juno, one of the movies I love, Juno, with the hamburger phone and little baby, and it was super weird. It was super cute, and I loved it. But also they were in X-Men, and more recently the Umbrella Academy on Netflix. They came out saying that as transgender on Twitter, and you know my despise for Twitter. So you look at me all on Twitter and whatnot. But and then
I know
also
we
it's
both got on Twitter around the same time, by the way.
I know it's
And
the
I
Progress
mean,
Channel's fault.
it's all the progress, and it's Ken Gelman's fault. That's whose
Ken
fault it is.
Gelman. Yes. Well, Elliot Page is a really good actor, so I'm really happy to hear about this. And then on top of that news, Netflix confirmed that there is a third season of the Umbrella Academy coming, through
Really
that post that Elliot Page made on Twitter, saying, congratulations and showing so much like appreciation and things for
support.
them being so brave and coming out on such a public forum. So now we know two things. We know Ellen Page is now Elliot Page. We know that they are going as they or him, and we know that Umbrella Academies has season 3 coming out on Netflix soon.
I mean, you know what? I'm loving the strides that we're taking. I just got. Have you watched P Valley? I watched the first episode for the first time, and they have
Oh
a character on there.
yes,
Was it Uncle Clyde, Uncle Claude, Uncle Clyde?
Uncle. Yes, yes,
And I'm just happy that our community is saying we're here, we're queer, we're trans,
yep.
we're different. We love who we
Yeah.
want to love. We are who we want to be,
And
and
with
I think it's
people
just a beautiful thing.
like Elliot Page coming out, who are so well known and who are on such a like very good person to follow in the public eye. I think it's great that we can now have that person to look at as a person who is transgender to be more knowledgeable about that community.
So while we've been talking about all this, a key figure in the community, in the LGBTQ community here in Providence, Rhode Island, has passed away. Ken Fish Jr. passed away on November 24th, 2020. Ken was a beloved member of our community and will be sadly missed. Ken, 78, passed away unexpectedly on Tuesday. He was the beloved husband of Trent Ferreira, to whom he was devoted for 33 years. Born in the Pontiac section of Warwick, he was the son of the late Kenneth Fisher Sr. and Ruth Barker Fisher. His strong devotion to our community also led him to become one of the co-founders of AIDS Project Rhode Island in 1985. He also served on the board of Youth Pride to become a board member on Youth Pride and a board member of School One and a member of the ACLU. I'm sorry, guys. Ken graduated from Trinity College and went to work in the fashion industry, achieving a position of fashion director for GQ magazine after several years in the fashion industry. Ken returned home, earning his master's degree in education and began a career with the Rhode Island Department of Education, becoming the director of the Office of Middle and High School Reform. After 32 years with RIDE, Ken retired and moved on to become the executive director of Exchange City. He loved teaching, and that passion carried him into his volunteer role with Dorcas House and their literacy program. Just want to say from the bottom of my heart, Ken Fish will be truly missed by so many. I met Ken back in 2006 when I was still uh, in the closet and coming to and learning about who I was as a gay man. And Ken was one of the people that when anytime you seen him, you could talk to him, good person. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, to his family, to all of his friends and loved ones out there, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, uh, I love you guys. Thank you, Ken, for your service. Thank you. And I know that when I see you, you're going to be wearing a beautiful crown. Thank you so much.
I hear
With
you.
all that said,
I didn't know Ken personally, but I know the work that he's done and people who do the work that he has done things similar, and I appreciate it. And there we wouldn't be where we are without people like that.
exactly. So with all that said, for right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be with you. And sorry about that. And so we're back. It's good to be back here.
We
You
back.
know, it is good to be back. So today is actually World AIDS Day. And I am so glad to have our next special guest. I first met this special guest back in 2006 when I was an AmeriCorps member, and I was my service part of my service project was to work with the school nurse teacher back then to do some work in teaching. We did a panel with kids, and he and I can talk about that. But Ray Joseph began working for AIDS Care Ocean State in 2004. He began as a research volunteer, and through his years, he has moved through all positions in the prevention unit, from outreach worker to prevention worker and prevention specialist outreach coordinator. Now he's a prevention specialist. Prevention supervisor. He currently manages all of the prevention programs within ACOS, including the Rhode Island's only needle exchange program, Encore. Ray also is the co-chair for the Providence Boston Center for AIDS Research, community engagement, is a community engagement research council, where he also works closely with other community members as well as research institutions in strategic planning for HIV prevention and care in Rhode Island, Massachusetts. So I am truly happy that we have someone today to talk about something so prevalent in many communities out there, especially you know within our community, the African American gay male community. So I'm so happy that we can talk about this today, Ray. So Ray, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Dion. Thank you, Taylor. Dion, great
No problem,
introduction.
Ray.
I wish I could bottle
Sorry.
that up. And I said, great introduction. I wish I could bottle that up and keep it on my phone. So when people ask who am I could just play that.
You know what?
I
I will record it for you and send it to you, Ray. How about that?
I was gonna say I'm sure he will record it for you.
Thank
You
you.
know, you know what, Taylor? You know what? I love you.
I love you too. Ray, that is
So,
pretty impressive
Ray,
though. I love your work.
I
Oh,
know
thank
you probably know Ken Fish. You probably have worked on some things together. Is there anything that you like to say before we get into this interview?
Well, when we're, you always think about memories of people. And the one thing I remember about Ken Fish, was that he would, no matter what we were doing, he was always willing to explain and always willing to give me advice on different things. And the one thing I could really think of is when we first started ACOS, we first took over the Speakers Bureau, having people living with HIV and AIDS into the community and speak about living with the virus and give a message of prevention. Ken was one of the first people that reached out to us and gave us advice on how to train the speakers, how to recruit speakers, target audiences, things like that. And even though it was his baby program, he was willing to give it up to us and give us the guidance that we needed to help it grow, help it thrive. So that's something I always remember about Ken.
Yeah, same here. I remember in 2013 when I was Mr. Garrett Island, and a lot of times I see Ken riding his bike mostly because he was always riding his bike, and he would
That's
stop, have a chat, and uh, give some really good advice. So once again, our deepest condolences to Ken and Ken's family.
Yes, and rest in power.
So rest in power. Yeah.
rest in
Um.
power.
So
I like that.
yeah. Ray, what prompted you to get involved in HIV prevention?
It's a long story, but I could always tell it shortly. Back 2004,
Whatever way.
I was I'm sorry, Taylor?
I said, tell it whatever way works.
Yeah,
Oh
whatever
yeah.
way works.
Back 2004, I was a professional bum. I sat home, I watched soap operas, I went out at night partying and things like that. I didn't have a job, didn't have any focus really. Uh, I was downtown Providence and somebody outreached to me, some condoms, let me know about HIV testing. And I said, can I get a job doing that? And they said, yeah, sure. Come into the office and let them know you spoke to us and you wanted to work. I went into the office next day, shorts and tank tops. I walked in and I said verbatim, yo, can I get a job? And the supervisor at the time, she hired me, and she took me on. And I at first I took it as just as a job. I didn't really think anything much about HIV. I didn't know much of what we learned in high school, the 2 weeks of STED and health class and things like that. But it wasn't until my first conference I actually went away to Denver for a week. We learned about demonstrations. And previous to that, I was only in the prevention world, but we learned about doing advocacy work, doing marches, how to hold demonstrations, things like that. And that was my first time not only seeing a different aspect of the virus, but also living with somebody that has HIV. So seeing their daily routine. And back then, seeing that they had to take a handful of pills per day. And I mean, the medications come so far now, but that's really been an eye opener for me. And that's something that I always remember, that from that point on, it wasn't just a job, it was a career for me and a lifestyle for me, that HIV is part of my world now.
I hear you. That's insane, for especially to see something like that coming from that point of view. For me, something that, you know, that's something that was kind of in the later year of the of its struggle, because it is something that's been going on for 5 decades. I have not been around that long, so I've only seen about half of the struggle. But I appreciate all the things that have come before me, and certain shows like Pose have reinforced the things that we have missed in my generation, like seeing people taking handfuls of pills and all these strange methods that were, fabled to make you feel better, and how far we've come with medications.
And to that point with the medication, I remember watching Queer as Folk when I was younger. In my
Yes,
younger years, I used to sneak and watch it on HBO. Was it Showtime or HBO? One of those
HBO.
two. I used to sneak back in the day. Sorry, mom. I used to sneak when I was younger and watch that. But I remember the character Uncle Vic on there. He was diagnosed with HIV and he had to take a handful of pills. And I remember in one scene he had gotten arrested and the sister made an argument. No, he has to take, and was really about to fight the police at the time, so he could make sure he takes his
Yeah,
medication. Um, but yeah, so thank you for getting involved. I think it's very important what you do and what you do over there.
absolutely.
Thank you.
And from what I learned recently, you have been working with ACOS for 16 years. That's impressive alone. Um, so kudos to that. I don't think I've done nearly anything for that long. But do you say your job as far as prevention has gotten easier or harder, and why?
In certain aspects, it's been easier. When we talk about HIV prevention, I mean, there's basic things that we all know. Abstinence always, prevents the spread of disease. But we live in a real world. People do real things. People are going to go out there and have
Right.
sex regardless. We know condoms are
Exactly.
effective against preventing HIV. Routine testing is effective at preventing HIV. What we've seen in the past couple of years is the advent of new technologies, new strategies. We've seen PEP and PrEP, post-exposure
Oh yeah,
prophylaxis and pre-exposure prophylaxis are news that we in the tool belt to help prevent spread. So things like that are things that I'm always excited for in terms of prevention mind, to help get new message to people. A lot of times people might think, oh, condoms aren't for me, and I don't want to get tested regularly, whatever it may be. But you throw another excuse at me, I can give you another answer. So now that we have more tools in the tool belts, HIV prevention is something that's more than a tank. It's something that we could definitely focus on.
yeah.
Right. It's true.
That's
Um,
very true.
so I heard you talk about PrEP, um, and multiple different ways. You said it's gotten easier, and all the stuff. But what right now during COVID, what are the extra challenges you're faced to do your
So with the COVID pandemic going on, it's been a lot of innovation, I guess I'd say, trying to be smart with our delivery, trying to be smart with our approach to HIV prevention. Of course, when you're traveling new terrain, you want to be a little cautious, especially with things that you don't know too much about. But what we found that we're able to control our service, continue doing our HIV, offering HIV testing. We run the needle exchange program, no condoms, but also give people a little bit of sense of community too. That when dealing with a certain population that's marginalized or underserved, showing that we're still here for them, showing that we still care for them, it brings a new light to them,
Right.
and it helps people feel more that community feeling.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
It's really important. It's something that is lacking as well. The thought behind the project and feeling included and not discounting that marginalized community. So I appreciate you saying that. With it being World AIDS Day as well, like I said, it is a challenge in its own, and even dare I say a pandemic of its own, um, dealing with the effects of AIDS and HIV. Um, for our viewers' sake and awareness sake, how often should someone get tested, and where?
Mm.
So like I said, with the COVID pandemic going on, a lot of really changed a lot. I still
Right.
recommend people get tested for HIV if they have a particular exposure they're concerned about. 3 months after that exposure, 100% sure, and we'll get tested at is. But if they don't have a particular exposure, at least every 6 months. And the calendar does a great job of reminding us. World AIDS Day today, December 1st, and National HIV Testing Day, June 27th. So June and
Oh,
December,
okay.
two big testing events, 6 months and 12 months. So every 6 months if you don't have a particular exposure. And so with the testing that we do in our office, it's actually also available over the counter at most pharmacies, CVS, Walgreens. There's no more Rite Aids anywhere. But and
Oh,
most
nice.
pharmacies do sell the over the counter rapid test. So it's done with an oral swab, just a swab of the mouth, and results in about 20 minutes, and it's just as accurate
I did
as the
not
test
know
that we
that.
do here.
Wow.
Yep. I always tell people when the rapid test first came out over the counter, I wasn't a big proponent of it. I really wasn't, too in favor of it. One, because it might put me out of business, but not really. But I always tell people you don't go to a plumber to fix your roof, and you wouldn't try
Right.
to fix your roof yourself. Uh, the people that work at agency work across the state that do HIV testing, we're all what they consider qualified professional test counselors. So we've been trained in how to give negative and positive results, how to give referrals to Health and Human Services to administer the test and all that other stuff. So if somebody's doing it at home by themselves, which isn't necessarily think because the instructions are pretty clear on there. But somebody might have questions on how to interpret the results, where to go for
Right.
aftercare of the results, things of
Where
that
But
do I go
nature.
from
it,
here? Yeah.
it
Yep.
wouldn't be just interpret the results. It would also be at that point. It's also about the care. About the care. I know I've heard people talk about the care afterwards. So finding it out, and I don't think that's something anybody would want to find out alone or by themselves. So it's also I think it's wouldn't also be about the care ray afterward, where you can give the information on where to go to be treated both physically and mentally.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely the care, follow care, and also where to go for additional testing when we talk about
Right.
STD testing, things of that nature. Can I
Um.
go get a drink of water real quick?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
We're
Go
attacking
ahead.
him, Dion.
I'm I don't attack. I'm not. I don't.
You
I mean,
made
the
Ray
only
leave.
let's just make this very clear to all the viewers out there. The only way I will attack someone, I have a list. I have a hit list. Donald
Oh
Trump is on
yes.
the top of my hit list. Of course.
Still?
Mike Pence is up there too. Lindsey Graham.
Mm.
Um, The lady that stole my parking spot at the Walmart, and
Uh,
the
ma'am, this list is getting crazy.
oh, and also that person when I was trying to cross the street, it was I understand it was a green light, but I was in the crosswalk. You didn't have to like, swerve around me and things like that. We got some problems. We got some problems.
You in Rhode Island, you'd lucky they didn't just hit you.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Maybe that was their normal driving, and I was thank God that they missed it because we are in
You
Rhode
better
Island, and we know
thank
how
God. You
how
better
some of
thank
you
God
Rhode
they didn't
Island
keep
drivers
going.
Well, did they have Rhode Island plates or
Race back with
Massachusetts
us,
plates?
Ray. Thank you. I
Thank you.
know Dion
Sorry.
scared you a little bit, but it's okay.
So you know what? Taylor, we're not doing this. Last week I had Nate get me, and then this week I get you to get me. It's
You started it. You started it, and you know why.
I don't start anything. I just
Uh huh. I used to tell my mom when I was a kid, I didn't start it, but I finished it.
so you talked about prep a little bit earlier, the drug prep, and or pre-exposure. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce this word, but prep is a medication you can take to help prevent HIV. Can you explain this a little bit more? How does it work? Um, how does it work, and what should people look out for when they're taking?
So I'm not a doctor, so I can't give you the scientific how it works as far as the cells and whatnot. It's medication that people take, and it helps build up your body's. It helps the immune system's defense for HIV. So, and don't quote me on. I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's the receptors in your T cells, which make up your immune system, blocked from the HIV virus able to connect to them. So that way the HIV virus isn't able to invade your immune system. Because remember, that's all HIV does. It attacks your immune system. Doesn't make your teeth fall out, doesn't make your skin turn green or your teeth turn yellow or anything like that. Just attacks your immune system, leaves your body weak. The viruses come in and invade the body. So what
Right.
my understanding with PrEP is that if somebody's on PrEP, it's recommended that they can taking it for their time that they feel as though they're exposed. It's not something that somebody could take just for a weekend and then stop and follow it up next weekend. They're on it, they have to daily for the time that they feel they're exposed. If it's a year, if 5 years, if 10 years, whatever it is, they have to make sure they stay on it.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah,
good to know.
and that's a common misconception too with PrEP. So I'm glad you mentioned.
Yep.
You
And
mentioned
also a
earlier
lot of
about
times,
your.
oh, I'm sorry. A
Sorry.
lot of
Oh no,
times
speak,
with
speak.
PrEP, yeah, with PrEP, people remember is that PrEP only protects against HIV and AIDS. It doesn't prevent you against other STDs. It doesn't protect you against other STDs. So other STDs are still at risk. So if somebody is taking PrEP, not only do they need to get tested for HIV regularly, but also other STDs if they're engaging in
Everything
unprotected
else.
sex.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Very true.
Why'd you sound like
But
somebody's great auntie when you say everything else? You sound like somebody's great auntie. Uh-huh.
listen, that's what I hear when I go
That was
home.
that Maryland boy coming out. I heard
That's
it.
what,
Go ahead.
Thanks advice, Auntie.
you know it's funny. You know it's funny. My aunt does live in Virginia, right? So that I'm really upset with you for that one. That's the Southern boy coming out just slightly, I guess. Because those are the eyes and the voice and the tone that I get when I go home to visit. And they're like, "You taking care of yourself?"
Mhm.
So I
I'm
guess
Mhm.
it
sorry.
came out and it
Sorry,
greatly.
Taylor. Go ahead and ask the question you were going to ask. Ray, I'm
But
sorry. We get a little
what I wanted to know
we
more
get a little
about,
silly. We get a little silly, and Taylor and I have not seen each other in weeks. We have not been able to hug
COVID
or
has
anything
prevented
like
us
that
from
because of
actually
COVID.
seeing
So
each other. It's awful.
I'm here
terrible.
for it.
Awful. Uh, but what I wanted to know more about was you mentioned slightly earlier your work with Encore. I'm not sure if that was the same work that you do with the needle
Needle
exchange,
exchange program.
but tell us more about that.
Yeah, Encore is my baby. I think of Encore as my baby. Encore stands for education, needle exchange, counseling, outreach, and referrals. So we are the state's own needle exchange program. AO stays home to it. We also partner up with other agencies as well. Project What Renew in Providence, CCA in Woonsocket Community Care Alliance, and PSN, Parent Support Network, mostly in the Kent County area. But our needle exchange program, it's very near and dear to my heart. What we do is we not only we give out clean needles and clean to people who inject drugs, we also give them all the works too: alcohol, band-aids, antibiotic ointment, and cookers, still water, wound care kits. We give out toiletries, food items. We distribute fentanyl test strips so people could test their drugs before and after use. And we also give out naloxone can too, both the
Oh wow.
intramuscular and the injectable ones. We operate with 6 sites with us here at ACOS, as well as Project Weber Renew. We also do a backpack needle exchange. So we do a street outreach. We carry backpacks and walk around the streets, either it be Providence, Newport, Woonsocket, Westerly, parts of Rhode Island, where anywhere. But we also do a home delivery service too. And I pride myself on being faster than Amazon Prime, where people can give us a
Oh
call
wow.
and we're able to deliver them needles same day, and no matter where they're at. I've even been known to go outside the state to Massachusetts and deliver needles too. What's unique about our program, the needle exchange program, is that we operate on a needs base. So clients could come in with 0 needles, I can give them 1,000 needles. Clients could come in with 100, I can give them 100. They don't have necessarily dirty ones to get clean needles, but we always encourage to bring back their dirty needles to us, which they do a good job of. Let's say, out of 100,000 you give out, we receive back about 75,000. So about 3/4 of what we give out, we're able to receive back too. And we
Oh
also
wow.
do a great job with the Providence Police Department, where they get calls about dirty needles left on the streets. We're able to go out and pick up too. So we not only are we servicing the clients themselves, but the community at large, making sure that there's no needles left on playgrounds or on the streets or anything like that.
That's really
That's
amazing.
that's good work. And um, I know obviously the big thing is funding, but what would you else would you need from the community as in support to make sure something like the Encore program can continue? What would you need for us in the community to do? Because we're talking about community in action, and I am a
Yeah.
firm believer that the only way things change is if um, the communities speak up. So what would you need from at large to continue to work with the
Well,
Encore program? And
from the community at large, what we're looking at is currently we're in they lit a which is 2 pandemics at a time, but it's really 3 if you think about it. We're looking at the COVID pandemic, HIV is still out there, and the opioid overdose epidemic.
Absolutely.
So what we're looking at is people being stigmatized for drug use, people not having places to go where they can get the help that they need due to COVID, and as well as also with stigma. So the community, I think the first step would try to destigmatize, try to make people feel comfortable and have those open conversations. We could talk about drug use, talk about uh, the words that we're throwing out now are safer injection facilities or safer consumption sites where people can use their drugs safely, be monitored by a nurse, and make sure that they don't overdose. There's such facilities in Canada, and studies have shown that when these facilities open, the rates of HIV and rates of overdose drop dramatically, but also the community crime in the community dropped dramatically. The streets were cleaner. People in the community felt safer when these things when the injection facilities were put in place. So something that hopefully we haven't. I like to think of Rhode Island because we're such a small state. I always think of us as a petri dish for for different things. And if we want
Mm,
to experiment on something, Rhode Island would be the place to do it because we're so small. We're so well connected.
interesting.
Give
Yeah.
referrals for different services. It's not like they do in New York or in Baltimore where they say, "Oh, you can call this number." When I give a referral, I say you can call Mary at this number. Hello, Big Ray sent you. Connections that we have because we're such a small state and everybody knows
Right.
everybody.
It's true.
Yeah.
Big Ray, is that your handle?
Big Ray, King Ray, whatever I feel like at the time.
Did you ask him if that's his handle? What?
I don't know. I'm like, is that your stage
Gotta,
name,
you
Big
know
Ray?
what?
I
You
like it.
put this
That's
guy on
cool.
Ray. You get this guy on Twitter, and now all of a sudden he wants to know everyone's handle. This is what social media strikes again.
Listen,
I'm
I'm
on
trying to be
Twitter
a
and
social
Instagram, but
media
I'm just silent.
extravagant. What?
I said I'm on Twitter and Instagram, but I'm just silent on both of them. I really just do it to people.
Ah,
You know what? You know what? The thing is, like, I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter, and I do more on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. But I'm starting. My Twitter is booming versus my. Thank you, Jaden. Jaden, that shout out to Jaden right there.
oh yeah,
So
Jaden
one,
does wonders.
sorry, one final question. What is the best advice you can give someone who is concerned about exposure?
The best advice to give, well, so much advice to give. It's always good to do your own research. I think that's definitely key in this day and age. Everybody has a cell phone, you have access to the internet. But I always want to let people know you want to make sure that if you're researching things, especially about HIV and AIDS, go to credible websites. Go to the CDC, the Rhode Island Department of Health, or the World Health Organization. You always want to make sure you go to credible websites because any Tom, Dick, and Harry could post anything on a blog and people would think it's true. If not online, seek a professional. Call up an agency like ours, AIDS Care Ocean State, located at 557 Broad Street, Providence, Rhode Island, and talk to somebody about it. If there's a particular exposure you're concerned about, know that there is a 3-month window period for most tests. But if a high risk exposure, there is what they consider a 4th generation test, which has a shorter window period of about 2 weeks versus the 3-month wait. But those are all things that somebody working in the field would be able to tell them.
Mm. Well,
They-
there are options. That's good. I'm always curious to know what the avenues are, especially with COVID going on.
Mhm.
Exactly. That is the key. But Ray, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. I know you had a busy day today. You said you went to the vigil today, social distance vigil, and thank you for all your service and everything that you do at ACOS. And you forever here have a friend in me at the Progress Channel.
Dion and Taylor, I'd like to thank you both and thank everybody behind the scenes too for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Same.
Again, we'll have you on again because I think we're going to be doing a panel. I'm not sure if they told you if they asked you to be part of that panel at the end of the segment. So we're going to definitely have you back. We're going to be talking
We're gonna change your name.
all of it.
We're gonna change your name on the bottom to Big Ray though.
Big
yeah,
Ray
actually,
Ray,
your
yeah.
name on the bottom from now on is going to be Big Ray though.
Yeah.
Not,
I'll take it.
Again, thank you so much. And guys, we gotta pay some bills, so we gotta go to our sponsor.
This is true.
So we'll be right back after. We'll be right back after this. So we're back,
We're
and
back
I
again.
decided. I decided before we wrap up, I am going to take one comment, and there's a comment from Trisha. It says, "Is anyone really surprised? Trump is still focused. Is still forcing himself on us when we said no."
Oh my gosh. In true fashion, if there isn't anything worse that he could do at this point, it would be that.
First of all, no doesn't necessarily mean no. You're gonna be like no, and like meaning yes at the same time, Trisha. Just because you're saying no, you
Doesn't
still
mean
can
you didn't
mean
mean to say yes.
yes. Okay. When I was at the World Beauty Pageant and I earned it, many girls said no, but they really meant yes. And I grabbed him by.
Oh,
I'm done.
oh,
I'm done. I'm
oh,
not gonna say
oh.
that word. I got too
I don't
much
think we made
respect.
enough money on the show yet to bleep anything out, so.
No, we have not. We have not. We have not. We're still, listen, we're still scraping change and pennies and things like that. I think all I have is a couple of, there we go. Taylor, actually, I'm going to send this to you. This is for
Charity
today,
donation.
36 cents. You made 36 cents today. Here you go.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
wow. Thank you
I,
so
I will.
much.
Yeah. Do you want me to send that in a check or cash app it to
I'll make sure to not spend that in one place.
you? I mean, that's a bag of chips at the corner store last time I checked, unless they changed the price again and they went from a little bag of chips. Well, where you get 5 chips, the bag of chips, you only get five
It's
chips
all
in.
air, yes.
Yeah, and then you get all air.
Be upset. Get my mouth all ready for some orange juice. Ain't nothing in there but a swallow.
You know what? I actually have to watch that movie with my little cousins because
Oh boy.
I showed them the pinky toe scene. I showed them
That's
when
that's iconic.
that is iconic. You got
If
to
you guys don't know
how
what
am I
we're
saying
talking about, then we're not friends.
Exactly. If you're on here and you don't know what movie we're talking about, I did say the name of the movie. You can go back. I'm not saying it again. But if you don't know what movie we're talking about,
We're not friends. We
we're
can't
not
be.
friends. So apparently they're telling us we got a little more time to talk about some things. How about this? Hold
Oh.
on. Let me go back.
Oh
So
boy.
I
He's
seen the
going back.
picture of this guy. I seen the picture of this guy, and I did not. I just found out today who he was, and I just want to tell you.
Oh boy. I'm scared. Hold on, wait, hold on. Okay,
Um,
hit me.
Out Democrat Mondeir Jones wins most influential role available to a freshman Congress member. Newly elected Congressman from New York, Mondeir Jones, hasn't even served a day yet, but he is already landing plum positions in the House. The out politician has landed the most influential role available to a freshman congressman. Jones was elected to be the freshman representative to leadership. He will He will meet weekly with party leaders and will serve as a spokesperson for the 15-member incoming group of newly elected representatives. Jones will also serve on the Powerhouse Steering and Policy Committee, which makes recommendations to the Speaker of the House regarding committee membership and leadership and assists the Democrat caucus in policy development and implementation. He tweeted, "I'm honored that my classmates have elected me to serve as
I
a
don't think it sounds
freshman
like that.
representative to leadership." That's how I imagine it sounded in my head, by the way. Jones tweeted after the announcement. He said, "I'm proud to be a part of the class of history makers. I look forward to joining the House leadership team and working to build our nation back better than ever. Let's get to work." Don't he sound like a gay Barack Obama, though? Like, that's what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
I was like,
Jones is one of the two first out black men to ever be elected in Congress, sharing the honor with fellow Representative-elect Richie Torres. Both men are from New York. So,
concrete jungle where dreams are
so
made.
I mean, if I can't get Jones, maybe I go with Torres. But no, I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. But
Oh boy.
But I think this is huge, especially for men of color who are gay and out there. Period. I mean, seriously.
Period. Period.
One thing I've always said that I don't think believe that there's enough representation out there for black men of color who are gay. And I'm so glad that we have both Torres and Jones as representative, and also
At the
allowing
same damn time.
Torres to be in at the same time. At the same time, it is a blessing. It is a
Yeah.
blessing, and I'm so happy about it. So,
Yeah.
tomorrow, everyone, we got to wrap it all up. And, thank you to my special guest, Ray Joseph, for coming on today. And um, remember, everyone, get out there, get tested, find ways to prevent getting HIV. Um, and if you do have it, make sure that you are properly being treated, both physically and mentally. And I'm also going to add on there spiritually as well. Taylor, is there anything that you want to say before we head out?
I mean, just that, take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, like I always like to tell people. And we're in the fifth decade of this the AIDS epidemic, so to speak. So let's help end this.
So I will be on tomorrow at 10 o'clock with Coffee with D. I might have some little special guests with me because my cousins have been home from school and stuff, so they might just pop in and sit at the table with me and have some coffee
Good
and things
good
like that.
mugga.
But of course, always discussing what we talked about today and some new things. And don't forget, on Thursday it is. Make sure you catch Taylor Neptune Thursday or Friday, one of those 2 days.
Friday.
Thursday, make sure you catch my co-host Taylor Neptune on the Tea with Taylor. My bad.
I was like,
Tea with
seriously? Wow. Yes, Fridays and Mondays at 4, guys, because my friend Dion is losing it.
I am Fridays at 4, although he did one today.
I did. I double dipped.
I mean, I can't talk. I haven't done coffee with D. I've been doing it once.
Yeah, to be continued. We shall see.
We shall see. I think because we're shut down and since I don't have to bowl, I got a lot to say.
Yeah.
So
Who are
until
you kidding?
next
You always
time,
have a lot to say.
everyone. Until next time, everyone. I want to say, be safe. Mask up,
Mask up.
mask up, or so you don't get corona up. Uh, with all
Seriously.
that said, with all that said, good night, Rhode Island.